Hi, fourth grade. I am going to do a couple of your videos this week while Mrs. Tina Tango takes some time to recover and feel better. So today in math, we are going to work on the distributive property and how we find a missing factor. So if you look here, here's an example of the distributive property, and you can see this is the factor right here that we're going to need to solve. The way I start out is, when I look at this, I can say 6 times 2 plus 6 times 3 equals 6 times something. Well, what I can do is I can add the 2 and the 3. So I pull the 6's out, because I'm going to multiply 6 times both of those numbers. So 6 times 2 plus 6 times 3 is the same as 6 times 2 plus 3. 6 times 2 plus 3, well, 6 times 2 plus 3 is 5. So 6 times 5 equals 6 times 5. So my answer here would be 5. And maybe you don't have to go through these steps. Maybe you can just go, oh, I can add those two numbers, and that's my answer. But we'll practice some of these with steps so that those of you who can't look at it right away and figure it out can have some practice. So here I have 7 times 7 plus 7 times 2 equals 7 times 7 plus something. Now I color-coded this so you can kind of see where my numbers are. See how I have my 7 times all the same there? So I made them all red. 7 times, and what did I do? 7 times 7, and then I added 7 times 2. So that means I'm going to add the 7 and the 2. 7 times 7 plus 2. And if you notice, they're not making us actually solve any of these problems. We're just having to try to find the missing number. Well, I added the 7 and the 2, so now I know that this number right here is that missing 2. I can see that up here. Yep, I have to add 7 and 2. I added my 7 and 2, so my missing number is that 2. So here we go back to probably how you would be working on it, because you're probably not going to be doing your math with a whole bunch of colored pencils. Here we have 8 times 4 plus 8 times 5 equals something times 9. Well, I'm going to add the 4 and the 5. 8 times 4 plus 5, that is 9. So 8 times 9 equals 8 times 9. So I could look up here and say 4 plus 5 is 9. I'm multiplying everything by 8. So those of you who can just look at it right away could answer it right away. Some of us might want to go through the steps and say, oh, 8 times, I'm adding my 4 and my 5. 4 plus 5 is 9, so I know to make these two sides equal, my missing number is 8. Now notice we can also do this with subtraction. So I have 5 times 3 minus 5 times 2. So that means 5 times something. So some of you might be able to just know I can subtract 3 minus 2 and get my answer. But some of us are going to go through the steps. 5 times 3 minus 2, because I gathered these up. I took my 5 times here, put my 3 and my 2 right here. 5 times 3 minus 2. 3 minus 2 is 1, so 5 times 1. So I know that my missing number here was 1. Now I could look at it here too. I have 3 times 7 equals 3 times some other number, and that will equal 3 times 4. So 3 times 7 minus some number equals 3 times 4. Well, I have to figure out what number I'm going to subtract from 7 to make it 4. And that's how I got this. 7 minus 3 is 4, which would make this 3 times 4 equals 3 times 4. Some of you might have been able to just go, oh, I have to take my 4 and subtract it from my 7, and that gives me 3. Some people are going to want to go through the steps. That's okay. So some of you might be able to just look at it like this, like the examples I was showing before. 5 times 4 plus 5 times 4 equals 5 times what number? Well, I'm going to take these two numbers, the 4 and the 4, and I'm going to add them. So 5 times 4 plus 5 times 4 equals 5 times 8. Here, I can also take a look. I can do it with subtraction. I have 4 times 8 minus 4 times 6 equals 4 times 8 minus some number. We have to find our missing number. Well, I can see my 4 times and my 4 times is right there. My 8 and my 8 is right there. So what number is missing? The missing number was my 6. So whichever way you're choosing to do it, maybe you can just look at the problem and figure out your missing number. Maybe you want to go through steps to find your missing number. That's okay too. But when you do your IXL, it's going to have one of the examples, one of the numbers missing. And I have given you examples of all the different numbers that they might have missing so that you can figure out how to solve the missing number. Have a good day.